This video is for entertainment purposes only. Hey. 720. I see you, fam. It's been a minute. I'm chilling. How are you, honey? Good evening. How are you guys doing today? King Feathers up. What's going on? Abundance. How y'all doing today? Peace. SGK, what up? This is going to be a good live for you, for sure. It's cold. Listen, my daughter's glad to be back home, boy. She went to the States and she just got back and she's like, yeah, I had to get the heck on up out of there. It cold up in Arizona, honey. It cold up there. Oh, Lord. He said, oh, Lord. Yes, we're going to talk about the twin flame. Because I got some stuff to tell you that's going to knock your socks off, boy. If it knocked my socks off, I wasn't ready for this conversation. I was like, wait a minute. Hold up. What? I feel like my life just got complicated all over again. Hey. Yikes. Okay, let me go ahead and put a couple disclaimers out so you guys can understand how this even came about. So I got to put my disclaimers out. Recent events has come forth that has caused me to relook at everybody within the family. Since I told you about that spiritual predator that I told you about, that was actually part of our team. Well, that triggered a series of investigations for everybody to be really re-looked into and to be rechecked into again to make sure that they are who they say that they are. Not so much who they say, because I always check to make sure that they are who they say they are. Or a lot of times I'll be the one to reveal to them who they are. Now, unbeknownst to humanity, there was a war that took place. And I touched on it just a little bit when I talked about my interaction with the false light version of myself. And I had told you that I had created this version of me. Okay? Well, each God has a false light version of themselves. So yes, if you are a god or a goddess, you have a false light version of yourself. That false light version of yourself is literally your shadow. Okay? It is your shadow. So, your shadow has access to everything that you have access to. Your shadow has the same power that you have access to. Your shadow has the same codes that you have. Okay? So I want you guys to understand this so you understand how this works, because I got to break it down to you so you guys understand where I'm going to go with this whole conversation. I got to take it back to bring you forward here for a second, okay? So, there was a war that took place between the false light gods and the real gods. Okay? Now, those gods have merged with their shadow to become whole. All right? You would know it as the term integration. Okay? Now, in the process of that, what I started finding out was that the false light gods were very, very active. And they were active against moving against the originals in various different ways, even though the originals weren't aware of it. Okay? So if you guys had different experiences of things that were going on with yourself that you could not explain why these things were going on, different types of blockages that may not necessarily be caused by other humans. Sometimes these blockages can be caused by deities that do not like you. Whether you are aware of who you are or you're not, it makes no difference to them, because they're holding on to what they dealt with you in the previous lifetime. Okay? So when you look at it from that point of view, because a lot of us are still dealing with a lot of crap and junk from our previous lifetimes. Okay, not just the previous lifetime, previous lifetimes. So look at yourself as a multi-dimensional being. Shah Mustafa, yeah, I had to do it. Yeah, I had to do it. Oh, snap, my brain, he crazy. Okay, so now that I've got this out of the way, what I found out was that my shadow self, but this is my higher self shadow, okay? Not the vessel shadow, but the higher self shadow, had been beefing with me the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And what I've come to realize is that my higher self needed to confront her shadow in this lifetime so she could overcome it through my vessel. So I went through a lot of different types of experiences in this vessel, a lot of different challenges, okay, in this vessel. And when I finally got to the end, I was able to finish one of my contracts. I completed the contract, okay? And so in the process of me completing the contract, my higher self merged with her shadow. But in the process of that, before that had happened, there was a lot of planning and plotting and scheming and things like that going on. And she had other various false light beings that was moving against myself and the family at the same time, unbeknownst to any of us. So one of the things that we discovered, this is going to be crazy. Let me just say this. And yes, a vessel can have the false light higher self as their main soul spark. I'm going to say it again. The vessel can have as their soul spark, their main higher self can be false light. So that caused me to start going into deeper investigations into the family. I mean, real deep. Okay, shit started getting deep. So in the process of me doing this research, I had found out that the one who I told you was a predator was a false light version of who he said he was. Because he is who he says he is. He's just a false light version of him, which makes sense to me. Okay? So this would be the darker side of that. So he's not even the real side. He's the false light side. Okay? So when I look at his soul spark vessel, that's who he is. That's crazy, right? Y'all sit up there like, what? Yeah. Yeah. So then I started checking on other people that I thought were family members. But when I started seeing how all these guys were moving, a lot of them allowed their ego to lead them. The overinflated ego to lead them. That was the dead giveaway for me in terms of when I started going back and reflecting back and looking at everybody all over again. I said, damn. So then I started going down the list of all of my children and everything that I found. And out of all the individuals of the first side of the family, there was only one that was the real version of himself. The rest were all false light versions of who I originally thought they were, which made sense, including the twin. Including the twin. It all makes sense. Because they all acted the same way. There's a particular energy signature with all of them. And the biggest thing that they all had in common was the overinflated ego and arrogance. Every single last one of them had that in common. And the overwhelming selfishness. When I tell you that blew my wig back, when I tell you the wig got blown all the way out to the ocean, fam, I just got my shit back. Okay? So, yeah, you're saying, oh my God, listen. So, come to find out, the false light versions were the ones that were doing all of the attacking on the family. All the attacking. All of it. They was coming at me hard because they were trying to get me to go in my dark space, and it just wasn't happening because I did a lot of healing and continue to keep healing. It's an active thing for me. It's a lifestyle. But they worked very hard. So imagine getting tons of illusionary magic placed on you, seals and sigil magic placed on you, all types of stuff that try to get you not to see, not to be able to pick up, not to be able to detect. Let me do this, let me do that, let me do all these different things to give you all these problems to get you, okay? All that was going on, okay? And finally, I did a huge clearing for myself and the family. After that whole thing, when I did the live spiritual predators, I did a huge clearing. Once I did the clearing, then Source told me to go back and start rechecking everybody again. And that's when I went back and I started rechecking everybody again. This is why the title of this live is called Twin Flames and Twists and Turns, because this is literally twists and turns, okay? So I found out that who I thought was my actual real twin flame, it turned out to be that he was the false light twin flame. So I'm gonna share something with y'all, okay? just listen to me here. This blew my wig back. And now I've come into a deeper understanding of things, okay? The question that was asked was, do you think your husband, your real husband, would have treated you the way that he did at that time with where he was in his life? Do you really think that he would have done that? And when I sat back and I thought about it, because I talk to my spiritual husband all the time, when I sit back and I think about that, I say, no, actually, he don't play about me on no level. That's no. Actually, he would not do he would not do something like that. He would definitely not do something like that. And so when I looked at this version that I saw, that I met, and see, the thing is, when you meet, whether it's the twin or the real, there is an energetic connection because they all have the same coding. They all have the same coding. It's just that one is healed and one isn't. One is light, one is dark. And very unhealed. So the false light are the very unhealed versions of themselves. as far as those gods are concerned. Very unhealed. Very malevolent in nature. Okay? So when I really started stepping back and really thinking about it, I said, dang, man. You know what I'm saying? So they said, you got to go back. You got to run through everybody's name. You got to go back and recheck again. And let me tell you something. Because I guess the clearing cleared out all the other stuff. And I got a chance to see clearly. You know, it's like I can see clearly now that the rain is gone. Yeah, it's that now. So I had to go back and recheck everybody to make sure everybody was who everybody was supposed to be. And for the most part, everybody was, right? As far as my squad. Everybody was except for one person. Okay, except for one person. And needless to say, that was crazy. That was crazy. When we found out who he really was, that was deep. That was 360-degree deep. So, nonetheless, yeah, that's deep. I know who the real twin flame is now. I actually know who he is. My wig is still blowing back right now. I'm still processing that because I definitely wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. That threw me completely off. And I do know who this person is. And this person knows who I am. Okay? No, we've never talked. But we know of each other. We just never spoke. So, I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, you might say, okay, definitely been a lot of processing going on, SGK. Yeah, bruh. Yeah. Yes, I'm saving the live, Megan. I'm saving the live, baby. What I want to say to you guys is that I think that we might have this twin flame thing just a little bit tad twisted here. Okay? Now that we know now that this exists. So here's what I'm going to say to you all. Depending on the type of being that you are, you actually can have more than one twin flame. Depending on the type of being that you are. All right? Depending on who your higher self is. Not everybody has more than one twin flame. Okay? I do. I do. And that blew my wig back. But I sit back and I think about everything I went through with the first false light twin flame. I'm like, man, I ain't trying to go down that road no more. You know what I'm saying? Because I came to an understanding about that journey. I'm like, man, I ain't trying to entertain that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not about to go down the roller coaster I went through with the false. Not doing it. Not happening. But at the same time, what I come to realization is, too, the question that was asked was, do you think that your real twin would have treated you a certain way? When that question was asked to me, I had to sit back and I had to really think about that. So it was almost like they were giving me hints. You know, when your higher selves and source has a conversation with you about certain things, you got to really read between the lines of the things that they're saying. When your spirit guides are having conversations, because they'll tell you certain things or they'll ask you questions that lead up to your own conclusions and they'll just give you the answers. Okay, you have to come up with your own answers. And what I'm starting to think is that maybe a lot of people have been running into their false twin and not their real twin, is what I'm starting to realize now. And I'm only saying that based upon my own personal experience of what I went through. I know some other people that actually ran into their twin, but it was their false light version of their twin. I'm beginning to wonder now if what they say it is, how they put all this stuff out there, because we do live in a world of distortion. And you guys have always heard me tell you, anything operating from the ninth dimension and down, you are going to deal with a lot of distortion. So you got to take in consideration that, you know, if you're operating in a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9D, you're dealing with a lot of distortion. And then you have other people reciting the same distortion based upon their own understanding. So now I'm beginning to question now as to whether or not people actually were actually meeting the real twin flames, or were they meeting their false twin flames, their false light twin flames? I'm beginning to wonder that now. And it's something I want to say to y'all to have y'all think about that. Because one of the things I used to think with him, the actual false light twin flame, I said, you are a karmic. You got to be a karmic. You have to be. Because the things that I went through with him and how he sees women, I said, you got to be a karmic. You got to be a karmic. And I found out that I did have karmic cycles with him. So he was definitely karmic. I mean, he's a karmic. Like, my higher self, when I looked at one of his aspects, I saw how that came about and how he did my higher self when she was supposed to get married. And she don't have no dealings with that dude on no level. And when I checked into aspects, I found out that he was actually the same one that did my higher self wrong many eons ago. I said, oh, this makes sense. This makes sense. Because I won't say the same thing played itself out for me the way it did for her, but it was like a similar kind of experience, but not entirely, if that makes sense. So it made sense to me. Things started clicking. Now that I know who the real twin flame is, that remains to be seen. I'm gonna put a what do you call it, a question mark on that. That's a question mark thing going on there. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, if I'm going to do anything at all. I may just keep it pushing. Now, you have false light divine soulmate. You have false light life partner. And then you have real life partner. And you have real divine soulmate. So remember I told y'all before, you get 3. If it don't work out with the twin, then you got the divine soulmate. If it don't work out with the divine soulmate, then you have the life partner. Okay? You get 3. For some of us, we have more than one of those types of partners for ourselves. Okay? So that's another thing. Who I thought was the divine soulmate turned out to be, he was false light. I was like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? He was false light. I was like, wow. When I tell you the jaw was on the floor, fam, the jaw was on the floor. The jaw was on the floor. And he wasn't nowhere near as bad as the twin flame. Okay? He wasn't nowhere near. But he is who he is. Okay? So, yeah, you're saying, damn, that had to have been quite the revelation. It was. It was. He said, God damn, man. Yeah. Yeah. That's why, listen, this is why I tell you guys, don't be so quick to jump in these types of relationships unless you know for sure who you're dealing with. Because some of these people aren't even who you think they are. And yes, you can even have a false light soulmate. How do you know when you have a false light soulmate? Because that soulmate is going to be very karmic to you. There's not going to be anything about this person that you're going to be able to. This person is not going to give you the things that you need. You're find yourself having a fight for that person. You know what I'm saying? And that person's not really giving you the energy that you need. So it becomes like an unrequited type of thing. So if any of you are in a situation like this, where you have a soulmate that you know is your soulmate, you better check to make sure this is not a karmic soulmate or a false light soulmate. Y'all better check into that to make sure. You guys better check to make sure that it's not a false twin flame. You better make sure it's not a false divine soulmate. You better make sure that that's not who these individuals are. Okay? Because yes, you can fall for them and be caught up with them and all that great stuff. Great. But there's going to be obvious signs that they are karmic to you. And yes, you can have karmic soulmates. Things are supposed to come together naturally. Things are not ever supposed to be forced. Things are supposed to come together naturally. So if you find yourself in a tug of war with someone that's supposed to be your soulmate, you better check to make sure that person is really your soulmate and not the false light soulmate. Because if they are, then that tells you everything you need to know. You left your karmic back in September. Damn, Rod Watson said, yeah, my whole blood family false light. Damn, Rod. Damn, Rod. He said my whole family is false light. What? You just got karma with them, Rod. You just need to do a family karmic clearing, baby, and you'll be all right. You just got karma with them. 5-star hoe. She says, what about LGBTQ relationships? Does that come natural? Okay. I am going to give you my opinion about those relationships. Okay, because that's another thing that just came to me today. I just found out the day that blew my damn. It had been coming in, but I really got the clarity today. Heavy on it. Was heavy. The clarity was heavy today. I just found out that there was a massive spell that was casted over our people. And this particular spell that was casted over our people, they have certain grids and certain things set up in major metropolitan cities in specific areas, especially as it pertains to anywhere near the quote-unquote indigenous Mer communities. So they had this technology that was there that was projecting out there this spell work to invert spell work. Okay. Now I need you guys to understand two things. This world operates two ways: magic, heavy, deep magic, and contracts. Contracts will keep things going a certain way on this planet until those contracts are actually voided. If there's a contract if there's a contract in place, then that person always has to perform. Contract law is also one of the universal laws. Okay? So, what I'm saying to you is that a contract that's in place that is done here also exists throughout the fabric and space of time. Okay? All dimensions, all timelines, that contract is still enforceable until it is broken, unless they went against the free will. Now, if you don't know that your free will is being going against without your knowledge or your consent, then therein lies the problem. Then that contract can be broken from someone that's high ranking enough to be able to break the actual contract. That being said, there are energy centers inside major metropolitan cities, many specifically placed in areas of our communities, where heavy sorcery and witchcraft to invert our people was put into place. This is part of the reason why you see so many of our youth being confused. Remember, they invert, then they broadcast the inversion through their media outlets, their music, their movies, everything. Who are the ones that are most uneasily influenced? The youth. So if you're sending out a broadcast of negative sorcery, witchcraft energy onto unsuspecting public, it'll eventually wear you down. You will eventually succumb, especially if you're one who is not healing, actively healing, have wounds that you have not healed from, nor have you addressed, or you haven't taken the time out to really address, sit with self, and get on a true healing journey. you're not going to be able to recognize these things when they're being done. That being said, you have that going on along with beings that are operating and inverting your aspects. And the process of them inverting your aspects because of the environment that you grew up in. It starts up here. I told you this the other day. Then it trickles down from your other versions of your higher selves down to your main soul spark higher self. Then it hits the vessel. So it starts up and then it goes below. Okay? So it may take a minute. As the inversion is taking place on the higher realms, you don't realize that's what's going on. But eventually you'll start being affected because your higher self starts becoming affected. Okay? What I started discovering is that a lot of my people's aspects were inverted. And they were inverted for them to do several things. Kill themselves. Kill each other. That's why you see the death rate so high amongst our men. Heavy spell work that was put in place for that. For them to off each other. Why did they do this? Because here's a secret. When you're in your true form, they do not have the ability to actually do anything to you. But you didn't know this. So if you succumb to all the outside influences and you start taking on the identity that is not of yourself, now you have been pulled off and out of who you are, who you truly are, original. Now you don't have the necessary spiritual protection that you should have in place because you're not on direct divine alignment on your path. So because you're not on direct divine alignment on your path and you're not doing the necessary healing, now anything can get to you. In other words, you're out of your divine covenant. You're out of your protection. You're out of everything because you don't even know who the hell you are. So I'm going to say that. Y'all take with that however you take that. It's however you take that. Okay? I'm just explaining to you my findings and what I've discovered. And when I started realizing how deep that rabbit hole goes, and how they have done everything in their power to try to go out of their way to invert our men and our women and our children. One, to stop us from creating population control because they are the minority and not the majority. And that is a spell in of itself with you thinking that you are a minority and not the majority. That would literally be impossible if you understand that you're originally from the land of Tamari. They have always been the minority. But if you feed into the Kool-Aid and you feed into the spell work that they placed over you and the illusionary magic that they've placed over you, and I don't think you guys understand how powerful illusionary magic is. It will have you thinking things and seeing things that aren't even really there or that doesn't really exist. That's how powerful it is. Now what's happening is the sun is breaking a lot of the spells. All this activity you see going on with the sun, that's to bring you up out of those spells, out of that sorcery, out of that witchcraft, out of that illusionary magic that you've been under. And it's not just the sun that's at play here. As various other originals who are completely tapped in, who know they cannot be touched, that are also at play here. That are also working with the celestial forces to bring down the judgment, to carry out assignments for the Most High, to bring the correction. So this is a collective effort, originals. Whether or not you realize this or not, your higher aspects are on the move, whether or not you realize it or you do not. Some of you guys have told me about the dreams that you've had, the experiences you've been having with your dream state, and the things that's been coming up for you, and how you feel tired because you're always working in the dream state. Well, let me explain something to you. If you're working in the dream state, you're working, period. Okay? Thank you, Coco. All right. So I hope that to the person who asked me the question, I hope that gave you some answers to understand that they have been pushing a system of inversion on our people, and they've been doing it for quite some time. Okay. The way things are now is not the way things are supposed to be. This is flat out an up and down system of inversion. And you have to be able to recognize it for what it is. This is the reason why I do these lives, to teach you guys what to look for. Okay? Yes. Dang, Mama, you are doing a cleanse right now. I'm bringing some things to light. Okay? I'm helping remove all that has been blinding you in terms of your perception and what it is that you're seeing. Okay? I want you guys to understand we live in a world that operates off of contract law. So if you have a contract, and let me give you an example. I'm gonna school y'all on some stuff. There's a few of y'all that's on my live right now that knows about the so-called straw man. Okay? What you didn't know was that your birth certificate is the contract to the artificial contract of you. Okay? They don't tell you this. They never tell you this kind of stuff. Who signed the contract? Your parents. There's no way you could have signed the contract. But because your parents signed the contract of the birth certificate or the certificate of live birth, and won't say certificate of live birth or birth certificate, that was the moment that the artificial version of you was created. And the artificial version of you has to be created in order for you to operate in this type of system, this corporational system, this corporational matrix. They cannot have any interaction with the sovereign version of who you are. They can only have interaction with the straw man version of who you are. The problem is you go into contract the moment they send you a summons in the mail saying that we want to summons you into court basically to do business with you, even though you didn't ask to do business with them. But you don't understand that they're asking for your straw man, the artificial version of you. Now, here's what happens. Because you don't know any better, you show up to court. Now you're contracting with the maritime law courts because you showed up. And the moment that judge asks you, please state your name, and you say, my name is John Doe, well, now you just contracted with the judge or the captain of maritime law, who's there to enslave your soul. That's why it's got the black robe on. He's a priest, a dark priest. His job is specifically to enslave your soul. You don't know that game, though, because you don't know legalese. You don't even know what type of courtroom you're operating in. The courtrooms that they have that you're even going into are courtrooms that are specifically for corporations, banks, and trusts. But you don't know that. Now, if you were to, and here's a workaround, if you were to go and incorporate your name, create an LLC in your name, get an EIN number for your name, and do business with that. Instead of utilizing your social, you do business with that. And whenever you get a summons, you bring that to court. Then they're going to dismiss the case because the straw man showed up to court to satisfy the appearance. Okay? That's the easiest way to get yourself out of a court case. Bring in your business license with your name on it. And they say bring it in here. And you can only hold on to this for a certain period of time. After that, I'm going to start billing you because I own this name. And you ain't got no business using my name because this name is also copywritten. You're going to be held liable for actually utilizing this name. So if I see anything in this name that I have copywritten, and you get this book called Cracking the Code, book number 3, that gives you specific instructions on how to copyright your name. Go through that process, get that done, present that to court. Case gone. Case dismissed. Don't sign nothing, because the moment you sign something, the minute you hire an attorney, you contract it. Okay? But you gotta have a certain kind of, you gotta have a certain type of knowing of who you are. Okay? You can't be up in there scared. If you're scared, they're gonna see that you're scared, then they're gonna test you, and then it's a wrap. You're gonna mess yourself up because you don't know who you are. You have to stand on business. I'm looking to speak. What's your name? My name is John of the family of Doe. Well, I don't want to talk to John of the family. I want to talk to John of the family of Doe. I want to talk to John Doe. Well, John Doe isn't here, but I am the trust. I am the beneficiary of John Doe, who you trying to get access to. And see, I'm about to give you this IRS form, and I'm going to make you completely and totally financially responsible for this entire case of moving up against this name that I have a copyright to that you don't have no ownership of. But here you go. Here's a corporation. Here's a corporation that you asked for. Because all they want access to is the credits that's tied to your Celestial QV trust. Okay, that's all they want access to. It's not you that they want to interact with. They can't have interaction with you. The only way they can have interaction with you is if you don't know who you are. Now, some of y'all got out of the status of being black, which I've been saying that's a derogatory term. And some of y'all will return back to their Aboriginal, Indigenous, Mer names and return back to who you are, then you'd be good to go. But see, you're still classifying yourself with something that the system gave you. So as long as you keep telling the system that you're a dead man, because that's what black is, you're a dead man, then they're going to keep doing against you what they're going to do against you, because you keep putting the spell upon yourself by claiming that. When you claim something that your enemy has identified you by, then you are subject to its jurisdiction and everything that comes with it. So you guys got to understand, again, this is a system of inversion. A system of inversion. Now, let's bring it back around to the twin flames. I would strongly suggest that if you have access for people that know how to read, that are really good at what they do, you start investigating to find out who the person is that you're actually with. See, dating is different now. It's on a whole different level now. I operate differently in that world. You come over here, oh, your whole background's being ran. I'm running a background on you with a quickness. I'm going to know all your aspects and shit. I want to know who the hell you are. I want to know if I got karmic cycles with your ass. I want to know everything about you before anything. Otherwise, what do you want? Why are you all the way over here? What do you want? Because I'm all the way over here minding my business, doing me. What do you want? So, dating today, guys, I'm tell y'all right now, some of y'all out here moving real reckless out here. Some of you guys are moving with people that you think that's who they are, and that's not even who the hell they are. That is correct. One of the realists out here says black is deemed dead in the eyes of the law, so claiming black is a free kill. That is correct. Things are he said, as Light Man said, is different now. Neo Cosmo says, trust me, looking deep with the tarot of what's going on partner-wise will pull your weave out back. I definitely learned once our baby was born, the dad was not who I saw. Ooh. A pot of magic, did you just get on here? It is imperative that you guys come to an understanding about what the twin flame journey is really about. It is imperative. I got on that journey in 2023. When I chose to get on that journey, what I really did was I made a conscious decision to heal not only myself, but also him too. Because your twin flame is the other half of your soul. You're one half, he's the other half. As you heal, so he heals. And he may not even realize that's what the hell's going on with him. He may not even know what the hell's going on at all. He'd be totally clueless because he don't even know your ass exists. Or even if he did know that you exist, he don't know what the hell's going on. And vice versa. But because your twin flame is the other half of your soul, the other half of you, you have to understand the interaction with that. And that includes the false light twin flame as well. That includes that person too. Because like I said, he wasn't the real twin flame. He was a false light, but he still had the same codes. He was just a darker shadow version of him. So when I would get on my, whatever it is I would get on with him, he would mirror it back to me. I remember being on one with him one day. I just got on one. I didn't even talk to him a minute, just having a flashback of a memory. I got on one, right? And I saw him literally reflecting back to me again. And he didn't even know that's what he was doing, but that's what he was doing. He was reflecting back to me, but I was able to recognize what it was when I seen it. And I was like, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Because what I had to do was I had to come to peace with him. And when I became at peace with him, I became at peace within myself. That's how serious those journeys are. Whether it's the shadow version of him or the real version of him. I had to be peaceful with him in order for me to be at peace within myself. Because when I would get on one, he would get on one. He mirrored everything I did. Pissed me off. I was like, I can't stand your ass. You know what I'm saying? So, yes. So I'm just telling y'all say, I want to get on the twin flames. Yeah, okay. Because they're going to challenge you on various different levels. They're going to challenge your healing. That false light twin tests the heck. Let me tell you something. That dude, there was times that dude brought out the devil in my ass, okay? Because he would push little buttons and shit, do little things that I don't tolerate, and I would snap on his ass. Quick. I said, oh, you want the smoke. That's what this is. Your ass want the smoke. I'm double fire. You want the smoke. I'm going to give you the smoke if that's what you want. And I gave his ass the business. After I gave his ass the business, then it was like, okay, yeah, I don't want that anymore. Yeah, leave me alone. Leave my ass alone, like I told you the first time. Leave my ass alone. And then he come back around this whole dance going on. It's like a damn dance. Okay? It's just a thing that happens. Okay? So I know what I went through with that person over there. And I'm like, Yeah, I'm not doing that for the second time. I'm not going to put myself through that again. Now, of course, I'm way more healed now than I was back then. So there's a lot of things I just don't entertain anymore, regardless of who it is. There's just a lot of shit I just don't entertain anymore because I don't have to, right? Back then, I was still, working on myself and stuff. I mean, I'm still working on myself now, but you guys understand it was different levels of healing. There's levels to healing. Okay, you think you got everything straight at one point in time in your life, and then as you continue to go down the journey, you start finding out other layers and things that come out, and it just keeps coming out, and just keep healing, you keep releasing, you keep letting stuff go, and then you become more refined and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Fire sign qualities for sure. This me. You a fire sign too? And I'm double fire too, fam. So it don't help matters none, man. I just, man. Aries, Leo, Aries, man. Ooh. Leo and Aries. Y'all already know. And then I got Cancer, and I got a Cancer moon. So my emotions are ruled by Cancer. There's the water. Sagittarius, big Aries. Yeah, Aries is my rising sign. So it's like Leo, then the rising Aries. So you already know. Y'all already know. Y'all already know. A Sag Leo. Oh, he's triple fire. Ooh. Yikes. Ooh. And I bet you he's raw. I knew somebody like that. I knew a triple fire sign, and when I looked in his ass, when I looked into who his soul spark was, his ass was raw. I said, Lord have mercy, child. I said, oh Lord. Aries sun, Leo rising. Mine's Leo sun, Aries rising. A triple Scorpio. Oh, hell nah. No. Ghost. Ghost that. Scorpio. Woo! Woo! They scare me. I'm scared of them. I'm scared of them dudes. Scorpios? There was this one Scorpio I met several years ago that I was crushing on real bad. Crushing on his ass. Seriously. But I only want him for one thing, though. I gotta keep it 100. I only want him for one thing. I'm just keeping it 100. Nah, but I'm just keeping it 100. I'm just keeping it 100. I heard stories, so I just, I was trying to see. So I was trying to see something right quick. Side eye. All right, this is a long time. This is like 9 years ago, guys. Like, sheesh. I'm just keeping it $150 though. I mean, shit. I only wanted for one thing. He knew it too. He knew I wanted. He was like, nah, if we ain't committing, then it's nothing. I was like, guess it's nothing, because I'm not committing, nigga. Money said side eye. Oh my God. I'm just having some fun. Baba log off. What? Very Leo of you. I mean, I wasn't on that. I wasn't trying to be on that with him. Not that. Not like that. Hell nah. Them niggas be going through dark nights of the soul every week. You know what I'm saying? I would see him going through this whole thing of depression. I'd be looking at his ass like, what the hell wrong with you? Nigga, I'm over here sunshining, bright sunshine. He over here on some dark night of the soul shit. The world's coming to an end. Oh my God. And all this other shit. And I'd be looking at his ass like, yeah, this isn't going to work. This ain't going to work. No, that's not going to work. Bro said, damn, brother, you going to do me like that? I said, go lay down and get some rest, sis. Listen, I'm talking about some shit that happened 9-10 years ago. Shit, get up off me. Mine got me cracking up tonight. I'm in rare form. She said, I can't with that shit. Hey, look. I'm having fun with y'all right now. Listen. It's like when I get on here and I talk to y'all like this, it's like I'm hanging out with some of my homies and we just sitting around shooting the shit. You know what I'm saying? We was talking about anything and whatever. We was talking about whatever. You know what I'm saying? Who I was back then is who I was back then. Okay? She wasn't looking for rest. No, I wasn't. As Girl Talk Girl, Showtime said, I got in here late but already laughing. Wholeness, gratitude, and blessings, Magneto. Yeah, Sanchez, you late as hell, fam. You late as hell. Real life, real talk. She said just a taste. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to see something right quick. I be seeing you in my dreams sometimes in the group circle out in nature. I love to be out there. Coco said those flashbacks, though. Man, listen. What we're not going to do is we're not going to sit up here and pretend like we didn't have those flashbacks and we didn't have those crazy-ass times either. That's fake as hell. What you see is what you get over here, just as authentic as I want to be. It is what it is. Had to see it through for the plot. Nah, but I'm just let me chill out. Let me chill out because I don't want nobody thinking the wrong thing. Things are different now. I learn to deal with people just as I meet them and who they are in their character now. But I will check that. But I am going to check that zodiac sign to see who you really are, though, because I want to know what I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? But more importantly, the aspects are just as important. The higher self is also just as important. Okay? There's a lot of extenuating factors here when it comes to relationships. And all I'm saying is, before you run down the block and think that, because a lot of y'all be saying, oh, I met my twin flame. Then I go to check, bro, that's not your twin flame. That's not your, that's no. Then there are some that you can meet that you may not supposed to be in a relationship with in this lifetime. There's also that too. Okay? You may run into someone and be like, yeah, this isn't for you. Yeah, you guys are twin flames, but not in the way that you think. It's not a romantic thing for y'all. I remember I told somebody that they had a whole conniption fit. I had some folks that was mad at me for that. And I told myself, well, shit, how you gonna be mad at me? I checked into it for you. That's what came up for you. Yeah, you guys are, but it ain't meant for y'all to be together in that way. What do you want me to say? I'm not gonna tell you what you want to hear. So there's people out there that you're not meant to be romantically compatible with. Okay? It just ain't supposed to happen. This person could be your cosmic brother or your cosmic sister. It just ain't meant for y'all in the cards to be together in that way. Okay? Should we match Venus with sun sign? Yee. Yeah, you're the emoji's killing me right now. As Spooky Ghost Icy, your emoji is killing me right now. I mean, you could try that, see how that works. This was me if he wasn't meant to be in this lifetime. See? Manifesting to get into the event December 13th. I'm ready, fam. Trying to match mama frequency. Well, come on in, girl. Come on in. And that's another thing. I hope you guys make it on Saturday for the timeline shift to get event. This is going to be a quantum event. This thing going to be crazy. If you guys didn't get registered for my 2025 going to 2026 timeline shift event that's coming up on the 13th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I don't know what y'all finna do. I think some Haitians made this. This is called Zoe. I'm trying to find out who the actual real creators of this is. Some damn good alkaline water, though. but it's in Mexico. Okay, Sanchia. I don't know if I'm going to do predictions anymore. I don't know about that. A lot of ingrates of the last one I did last year. I just said, you know what? Since y'all want to be ingrates, I'm not doing it no more. I was at your last one, and wow, yes, this one right here is going to be very, very powerful. What can we expect from the timeline shift event for you to be in your actual abundant timeline? That's what you can expect. Now, how you decide to proceed in that timeline is going to be totally up to you. But I will tell you, make sure that you're intentional with what you're trying to accomplish in that timeline. That's the problem with most people. They're never intentional with the things that they do. Make sure that you are intentional with this event. Now, with this event comes something that I'm actually bringing in, where you guys are actually going to be repeating after me this going around. So it's going to be pretty powerful. I wrote this out specifically for you guys that are going to be a part of the event, because we're going to all be shifting together. Yeah, you're going to feel yourself jumping. All right, guys. We'll see, King Exclusive. All right, guys, my time is up. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.